On today's episode of the Carolina Sports Guy, we're going to kind of look ahead as we get closer to the NHL expansion draft and free agency coming up here in just a few weeks. And we're going to look at about 13 players, not all of them, but about 13 players, free agents, unrestricted free agents, restricted free agents. Who should we bring back? Who's our top priority? Before we get into today's video, make sure you subscribe, folks. It doesn't cost anything. Pound that like button. Leave me some comments. Let me know what future videos you'd like to see on the Hurricanes, Carolina Panthers, Charlotte Hornets, major college sports in the Carolinas. By all means, folks, hit the bell notification so that you can be notified of future content like what's in today's video. Please subscribe, folks. Doesn't cost anything, like I said. All right, kind of wanted to look back, and as I get closer, and I've kind of covered this topic before, I kind of wanted to look at, since Rod Brind'amour has been signed as our head coach, and that's kind of alleviated a lot of pressure off. How do we rank players? I've got 13 players on the list, folks, and of the 13 players, I've got 6 restricted, 7 unrestricted. Now, the thing about restricted free agents, as you may well know, is someone can offer them a contract, much like Montreal did to Sebastian Aho, and it's up to us to match it. If we're going to balk and blowball someone and we want to bring them back on a cheap, but another team sees the value, we might be forced to let that player go. And maybe we get a draft pick or two. But depending on how good that player is, we might be cutting our nose off to spite our face. And much like Aho, we went ahead and matched that offer and signed him to a contract, and it worked out for us. But with an unrestricted free agency, you like to bring some guys back. But for the most part, if a weaker team or a team with money or a team that feels like they're one position or one player away, sometimes they'll take a stab at your free agent trying to make you weaker and make themselves stronger. So we got 7 unrestricted free agents. Now, out of all the restricted and unrestricted free agents, my opinion, the number one player on this list, and a lot of people are going to think, no, it should be Hamilton. I think it's Andrei Svechnikov. Now, he's restricted. So as far as being on the hot seat of the hot button and thinking, man, we've got to get him, I just think he's our number one guy because we don't need someone to come in here and offer him a big contract and we don't match. He is our future. Not that there's anything wrong with Dougie Hamilton, but Hamilton, he's in the prime of his career right now. I don't think Svechnikov has even scratched the surface of how good he's going to be. And I really think we really need to take his contract into consideration above all else. So I'm going to say Andrei Svechnikov is the number one priority now in free agency. Number two will be an unrestricted free agent, and that's Dougie Hamilton. Now, do I think he's coming back? No. Do I want him to come back? Yes, by all means. It opens up a couple things if he doesn't come back because it puts more of a glaring need on some other restricted free agents that we might have playing defense. But I'm telling you, folks, Dougie Hamilton, it would be great to have him back. I just think somebody else out there is probably going to overpay Hamilton. I don't see him coming back. He's really going to want to have to probably get a raise, but he's going to have to take less than he can get from somewhere else if he wants to stay in Carolina. Number 3, restricted free agent. I think no matter what, because of the position goalie, where we don't have anybody after this year, he's restricted, however. I think Alex Nedeljkovic is going to be very, very key. He's going to be someone we got to bring back. He's restricted. Somebody could offer him a lot of money. Remember, he cleared waivers just a few months back, 4 or 5 months ago. Then he went on this streak. He's done really well. But Nedeljkovic could be someone that someone could take a stab at. But I feel like, honestly, he's probably even really more important than Hamilton. I only gave Hamilton a nod because he is unrestricted, and it's going to be more of a chance of losing him than losing Nedeljkovic because he is restricted. Number 4, Brock McGinn. He's unrestricted, and I think out of all the unrestricted, he's the first one we look at. I know Hamilton's probably more important, or people see a bigger key to getting him back in. But if we lose Hamilton, I think we got to turn our attention to McGinn. If we're going to bring back an unrestricted free agent, in my opinion, he's the number one guy we need to bring back in from the unrestricted side, and he's number 4 on this list. I just love his game. I think he's only getting better, and I'm really afraid it's 50-50 if we lose him or not. But I think we could probably get him at a reasonable price. Number 5, Jordan Martinook. Now, he's unrestricted as well, and I know he really wants to stay in Raleigh, but he plays on that 4th line, folks, and he could probably be bumped to 3rd. But he grinds it out. He's gritty. He's a locker room guy. People love his game. I just really don't know if we're going to be able to keep a guy like him around if somebody offers the right money. But if we lose Hamilton, getting McGinn and Martinook in would be wins for us, definitely. But I've got him number 5 on the list. Number 6, we go back to the restricted free agents. I don't think we have to pay a whole lot to keep him right now, but I definitely don't want to lose him to anybody, and that's Warren Foegele. And he's somebody that could be open up, we could lose in the expansion draft to Seattle. I love Foegele's game. 6, 7, and 8 could have on this list could have been any position. I've got Foegele here just because I think he's more ready right now, or has been in these other 2 guys I've got next. He's proved that he can play. He does disappear at times, but I love his game, and I think his upside and the talent level we have with our young team, he fits right in. Number 7 is a guy, probably in my own point of view, is even more important than Foegele. Even to me, I'd rather have him on the team than Martinook. But I'm just kind of looking at the guys, and I put this list together, who I think the organization might think is more important to the organization. So number 7, restricted free agent defenseman, is Jake Bean. I want Jake Bean on this team more than I want Dougie Hamilton, just because he's younger. I think he hasn't scratched his surface. I think he's got more to give. I think he can be had cheaper than what it's going to be for what Hamilton's going to ask for. The thing that scares me about Jake Bean is if we do sign him, I don't want to expose him to the expansion draft. So Jake Bean to me is very, because after Slavin and after Pesce, just to me, I know Hamilton's important, but honestly, I look at a guy like Bean as being important. We can bring up some other guys, Joey Keane playing in the minors. They could play on the defensive side, but I just think Jake Bean's not important. Number 8 is Morgan Geekie. I don't think it's going to take a lot to hold on to Geekie, but he is restricted, and we could lose him. Could he get exposed in expansion draft? Yes. He's gotten to play in some games. He got some scratches in the playoffs where he didn't get in, but I think his upside is tremendous. And I just somebody, I know some other guys got to play ahead of him, but I just really love Morgan Geekie's game, and I'm hoping it's someone we do bring back. Because after Geekie, being number 8 on my list, 9 through 13, I'm not going to lose any sleep if we lose him. If we sign him, sigh of relief, great. See what we got with him, fine. But if we lose 9 through 13, I'm not going to be as upset. If we lose Geekie tomorrow, I'm going to be like, oh man, it's a bummer. I'm going to be a little down and out. Number 9 on the list is Petr Mrazek. I think Mrazek's probably played his last game because he's going to want to start somewhere. And I think Nedeljkovic is going to be our starting goalie. If he doesn't get a big contract on the open market, I could see him bringing back as our second goalie, and I really want him to be our other goalie. But if he wants to start or he's looking for a big payday, Petr Mrazek's probably moving on. Number 10, Jani Hakanpaa. Now, the price we paid by getting up Fleury, and I thought Fleury was surely going to go to Seattle in the expansion draft, but Hakanpaa kind of played a little bit better than Fleury did here as a defenseman. But he's a free agent, and I do see him as our 10th freeze on this list, probably moving on somewhere else. I do like his size, I like his game, and if for the cheap, maybe we can bring him back, but I just really don't know if we will. Number 11, Lajoie. I forgot the guy's last name, I'm sorry. He did get in some games in the playoffs. He's a restricted free agent playing forward. And I believe it's somebody that when we look at him, that we're going to be in a situation where we might need to hold on to him because he's a young player. Can he be better than Geekie eventually? Can he get to the level of Foegele? I'm not sure. It'd be great to hang on to him, but we're not going to break the bank on him. Maybe we bring him in if we lose a couple of these guys and keep him around. So we'll see. Number 12 on the list is a guy I think we'll lose. We made, I believe we got him in the before the trade deadline from Ottawa, Cedric Paquette. I know we traded away Ryan Dzingel. He didn't fit in. Paquette come in and looked pretty good. He used to play for Tampa Bay. I thought he really would have had a better play than he did when we played Tampa in the playoffs. He did get injured as well. I just think Cedric Paquette has played his last game in a Hurricane uniform, and I think he was a rental. That's what he was. He basically was a free agent rental for us this year, and I don't think he'll be returning. Could be surprised, though. And unlucky number 13 is James Reimer. And the only way I see James Reimer coming back is Nedeljkovic comes back, and let's just say Petr Mrazek moves on to greener pastures. James Reimer could move somewhere else as well. We end up having a goalie I didn't even put on the list. But the only way I want James Reimer back is if Mrazek doesn't come back and we can't find an upgrade. Reimer would be, I guess, a plausible backup temporarily till we can develop someone younger or find someone else, through the years here. But anyway, what do you think of today's video, folks? Who would you rank as the most pressing need for the Carolina Hurricanes in free agency? Who do you think will lose in the expansion draft to Seattle? What guy on this list do you think that I kind of slid down that you would like to move up? Pound the like button, leave some comments, hit the bell notification to be notified of future videos like today, and by all means, folks, subscribe. It doesn't cost anything. And we'll see you on another episode. Carolina Sports Guy.